In this video, we'll give you 3 simple steps to attract your soulmate. We're going to help you discover what may be blocking you so you can attract your perfect match. If you're new here, my name is Jessie.
And my name is B.
And welcome to our channel. So we're going to dive right in.
Okay. 3 steps to attract your soulmate. And I feel like we can talk about this. We have done it before. We've walked the walk. We are soulmates. We are in a really healthy, loving, respectful relationship.
Secure
Attachment. I was anxious, avoidant. She was anxious. And now we have rewired ourselves to create a secure attachment. And we want to help everyone else do the same thing because it's possible.
Right. So first, we're going to start off with awareness. And potentially what's blocking you is maybe you're aware of your truth, but you're kind of sweeping it under the rug and you're not ready to face it yet. And you're in this toxic relationship, which I found myself in many times. It took me many, many years to break that cycle and get out of it. But once those rose-colored glasses fall off, you can't unsee it. So the first huge step for me in my process was becoming aware of the cycle that I was in, and then taking the steps to get out of it.
Right. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that later. But the first step is maybe the most important step because that's when, like Jessie said, the rose-colored glasses come off and you are seeing something that you can't unsee. So it's like once you go there, you cannot go back.
There's no going back. You can't unsee it. It's not the same. It's never going to be the same with that person. And this doesn't always, this has happened in friendships for me too. It doesn't always have to be romantic. And even, family relationships, things like that.
This step requires so much brutal honesty with yourself. So I remember a couple of years ago when I was in my first marriage and I did this exercise. It was like grounding, getting raw and real with where you're at in your life right here and right now, like in your current reality, assessing your relationships, your health, your wellness, like money, everything. And I grazed over the relationship portion. Every other area of my life, I was so honest, but with the relationship portion, I just it went over my head and I was just subconsciously, I was like, I don't want to look at that right now. So I wasn't fully honest with myself. But once I was honest that this is not the right relationship for me, I'm tolerating things that I don't want to tolerate anymore. Like I'm allowing this person to treat me horribly and abusively in so many different facets. Oh my God, once I became aware of that, it's almost like you don't really need to do the other steps. They just come very naturally. But that's why awareness is probably the number one most important thing. And that's why we put it as the first step.
Yes. So second step, rewiring into self-love and rewiring old, outdated programming. So one thing that really comes to mind for me that I had to rewire was I was a caretaker in all of my relationships. I took on this role that I didn't necessarily need to, but I could trace that back to childhood, and that, stemmed from, I have to do all of these acts of service in order to get love from my parents, in order to be seen, and I have to be perfect all the time, and then grow up and you're attracting these relationships where, they needed me all the time. I always had to do everything and I felt like I had to continue to do these things when really, when that awareness came to me and it was like, wait a minute, I need to be putting this energy into myself. I need to slow down. I need to get out of this autopilot 9 to 5 rat race that I was in, and I need to do something else because this isn't working.
Yeah, exactly. And step number 2 is really all about making that conscious choice, because we can't make those choices unless we're first aware. So that's why awareness and then making the choice to rewire into a different reality, even if you don't know exactly what that looks like. Like after I became aware that I did not want certain components. I didn't want to be in that relationship, my first marriage. Then I made the conscious choice at the time to rewire into self-love. We actually both were not like seeking out to attract our soulmates at the time that we met each other. We were both really focused in on ourselves.
Yeah. I was loving my solitude, to be honest with you.
Same. I loved living by myself.
I loved living by myself, not just fully immersed in myself and not in this like self-righteous, cocky way, but just in this like, oh, I get to like, something as simple as this, I get to choose what I'm eating for dinner. I don't have to worry about somebody else and what they want or may not want. I get to like flow through my day. I don't have to answer to anybody. Like, I just get to like choose myself over and over and over again.
Right. And I remember for me, it was a really powerful decision that I made. So we're talking about choice. And I was in my condo in Tampa at the time. I was all alone. I had my dog and my cat. And I had done like some embodiment things. I was already, in smaller ways and like less conscious ways, maybe like choosing myself. I had gotten out of that relationship. I was in my solitude, but then I knew I was ready for the next step. And so what came in front of me was this self-love, like 30-day self-love challenge. And if you would have asked me years prior to this point, I would have been like, self-love? Like,
throw up.
So cheesy. Like, I'm not gonna like do these mirror affirmations, like what the fuck ever. No, there's like something to it. So at that point I was ready to say yes to that frequency, yes to self-love, really consciously choosing that, and my whole world shifted. Whole world. Okay, so that brings us to number 3.
Number 3, aligned action and shifting from the external to the internal. So here's a huge, this was something that I thought of yesterday when we were coming up with this idea actually to talk about. And it's something that we're super passionate about, obviously, but I used to think in my mind, I have to have all of my ducks in a row. I have to be in like the greatest shape of my life. I have to have a mountain of money behind me. I have to have a really nice car, the house, like the whole 9. And if I don't have any of these things, I'm not going to attract the right person for me. I'm not going to attract my perfect match, when really it's having none of those things. And going internal, like it's not about the materialistic things in life that you have that's going to attract the wrong kind of energy to you. The right kind of energy is when you're vibrating on the same level, you're going to magnetize your perfect match. Like unintentionally attracted the love of my life by just choosing myself and going deeper and healing deeper layers and going into my subconscious mind and tracing back the roots of trauma and really leaning into loving every version of myself. Like that's where it's at. It's on the internal. Once you make those shifts internally, I'm telling you, she just walked into my life out of nowhere. It's crazy. And like our lives were very paralleled as well.
Very much so. We were both on our self-love journeys very intentionally. So after we created the awareness and then we made the choice to rewire, then we both took aligned action. And that looked different for both of us. So actually, after I chose myself, I chose the 30-day self-love challenge, then it's like, okay, you can't just like stop there. Like you got to start doing. And a lot of times people believe, okay, then like Jessie was saying, I can go out and do all of these external things. I've got to go to the gym. I've got to go get that car. I've got to go make more money. And maybe sometimes that's what the aligned action is. But personally, for me, it was more so, okay, I'm going to go within. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to take the time for myself to do this morning routine that makes me feel super nourished and super full, and like I have more capacity throughout my day. I was doing mirror affirmations. So every morning I was making the conscious choice to read out 55 mirror affirmations and just like love on myself, and then go back to those affirmations throughout my day to keep with the rewiring. So it's not like this is so linear either. Like it's cyclical and it kind of goes in spirals just like everything else in life. So it's not just like simple 1, 2, 3. It's like, no, like you might become aware and then you take some action and then you go back to rewire. Like it can be so many, you know, different things. There's so many different like layers to it, but the action is super powerful, super powerful to cultivate over time. But for it takes different amounts of time for everyone, right? Like I don't even think I made it through the first 30 days of my self-love challenge before I met her. So it's like the other part of it was taking aligned action and like putting myself out there. Granted, I wasn't like looking to manifest my soulmate, but I was like, I want to have some fun. And also my tarot card reader was like, Spirit wants you to date, Brianna. So I was like, I can't ignore Spirit.
Right. I was gonna say that, yeah, a big part of the aligned action is like not letting the fear of maybe past relationships hold you back from putting yourself out there again, because you get to a place where you see your past relationships as teachers. They were just lessons. They were guiding you, molding you, helping you figure out, okay, actually I like don't really want this in a partner, and oh, I really loved this thing from this partner and I really want this from my next partner. But putting yourself out there, not being afraid because of what's happened to you in the past. Yeah.
And also, like, when we're saying, like, put yourself out there, like I was saying, like, we both actually experienced, we weren't intentionally trying to manifest our soulmate. Nothing wrong if you intentionally try to do that, but also, like, unpopular opinion, you don't need to have, like, this full list of, like, this is what I need this person to look like and to do, and they need to treat me like this, and you just become that person. You become the partner of your dreams, essentially. Like I was so in my integrity, I was living more confidently, I was choosing myself, I was prioritizing myself, I was like focused on my work, I had so much ambition, like I had cultivated up all of these like characteristics and these traits and these values, and then naturally, like when I'm like, okay, Spirit wants me to date, woo! Then like I go out and I meet her and she has like those same values that are so important to me that I didn't even like consciously realize, like, yes, I need this in my next partner, because I wasn't even thinking about that. So you don't have to have that list.
You don't have to have the list. And also, like, what's just coming to me now is the way that you love yourself. When you start loving yourself on just like a deep, intentional, profound level, the person that comes in is going to love you just as deeply and profoundly, and you're not going to have to ask for the validation or reassurance. Like they so freely give it, and the trust and the honesty, the integrity, it's all there.
Yeah. And something that Jessie told me yesterday, it was like, she's like, you know when you found your soulmate, when it's just like so clear, there's no confusion. Like I'm sure you all can relate, like in past relationships, like toxic relationships, like maybe if you're like playing this like cat and mouse game, like you're so confused. Does this person want me? Do they not want me? Like they're cheating on me. Like, you know, I went through all of that. And so it's like when you find your person, it is so clear that they want to be with you. Of course, you're going to have like we trigger each other, like doubts come in, like it happens. We're, you know, doing much better than we were at the beginning of our relationship, but like that happens. But to your core, you're like, I can trust this person. And like, I never thought I could trust another person again, but that came with trusting myself first.
Right. And you'll always know where you stand with that person. It's not this guessing game. And another thing that's just coming to me right now too is you don't have to be fully healed to date again, to put yourself out there, because I also had that mindset like, ooh, I got all this baggage. I haven't really like sorted through it yet or put it away or dealt with it. But you heal on a deeper level with your person. They're triggering you in healthy ways, and you're able to just like heal on a deeper level, communicate. There's so many things that you can that just come from being with your person.
100%. We could go on and on and on about this topic.
Yes.
We're going to do more videos on this topic because clearly we have a lot to say. So if you resonated with this video, if you liked it, please like it below. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications.
Comment.
And we'll see you in the next video. Go love yourself.